So, anyways, he got behind me, pulled me over, and for no reason. I mean, nothing. So I pulled in across from Taco John's, where that gas station is right there.
You're talking down on Grand Avenue?
That's correct.
Okay.
That's correct. So I pulled in there because I knew for some reason he was riding my ass. So I was like, okay, he's going to pull me over.
All right.
So I pulled in, and he flipped his lights on. He followed me in there, and then came to my car. He goes, "Are you driving within your time? A lot of time, because I'm on occupational right now."
Okay.
Which, whatever. So he said, "I just need to see your ID." So I gave him my ID, which I shouldn't have, because there's no reason. I didn't do anything wrong. There's no reasonable suspicion I didn't do anything wrong. So I showed him the ID. He didn't identify himself. I didn't know, who his name is or anything else. I'd like to know, and then I showed him, and then he goes, "Oh, okay, just look at my face, and then, all right, you're good to go."
Okay.
Okay. Is that legal, what he did? I mean, as far as what did I do was illegal.
Okay. I wasn't there, so I don't know.
But this is exactly what I mean.
No, I mean, I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
So, if I understand right, what you're trying to say is that he pulled you over thinking you were revoked. Is that what you believe he thought?
I no. He said he ran my place. He goes, "Yeah, it's here from 8 to 8. You can drive legally." So.
Okay. I would have to basically talk to him to see, did he take your ID and go back to the car?
No, not at all.
Okay.
I just showed him, and it's this isn't a stop and ID state. I didn't do anything wrong.
No. Okay.
I'm
but here's,
pissed.
Okay, so here's what I suspect happened, and I'll have to ask him what happened, right?
Correct.
Because the only way to find out what happened is to ask him, why did you make the traffic stop, right?
Correct.
What I would suspect, based on what you're telling me, is he ran your plate. He believed when he activated his lights that you were probably revoked, and that you and before he came up to the car, he recognized that it was a mistake of fact. Okay.
Correct.
So the occasionally, right, an officer might see something and reasonably believe that they're observing a violation of the law. Okay. Mm-hmm. And they go and they act on their reasonable belief, and then what ends up happening is when all the information is known, they were wrong, right? And that happens. That happens, and I think it happens more often than not. And there's actually a case law. I think it was a Wisconsin Supreme Court case law, which basically said that if an officer makes a mistake of law, that would be impermissible. If an officer makes a mistake of fact, like they think they saw something and they just end up being wrong, then it would not be basically the stop itself wouldn't be illegal. Now, obviously, he can't prolong it any longer than is reasonable.
Well, it's 30 seconds,
right?
But
that's where I suspect what happened is he activated his emergency lights, right? Now he's behind you or whatever. He looks down at the screen and realizes, oh man, I made a mistake of fact. I didn't realize that he had the.
He knew about beforehand. Right. You run the plates. I know how this goes.
Yep.
And you know all the information. It's all right there.
Well, but what I'm suggesting to you is the time is probably he wouldn't have pulled you over for no reason. I can tell you that fact. I don't know why he pulled you over. I'm going to have to ask him that. But I suspect, based on what you're telling me, is that he misinterpreted the information that came back on his computer, and prior to making contact with you, he looked at it, because that's not uncommon. Like, if I pull you over, okay, let's say I'm driving by you, and for purposes of just discussion, let's just pretend that your driver's license isn't valid, okay? And I drive by your car, and I see your plate, and I run your plate, and I see that it's not valid, right? And I pull you over, right? I already know who I think is driving the car. I'm going to look at the information once I pull you over, so when I approach you, I can tell you, like, hey, your driver's license is suspended because you have unpaid parking or unpaid tickets, or you get where I'm going, like, so that I have the information to provide you. So I do I might look at it deeper before I actually walk up. I suspect that's what happened. The only way I'll know is asking him, right? I mean, that's the only way. That's the only way I'll know. Certainly, you obviously don't like what happened. I can express.
Absolutely
that
not.
Okay.
I mean, it's.
I understand.
Pulling me over for no reason. I mean, you can't.
Well, but here's what you have to ask.
Zero reason.
No, here's what you have to ask yourself. Do you really think when he pulled you over, he didn't think he had the reason?
I have
That's what
no
you have to
idea.
ask yourself.
It doesn't. I don't have to ask myself anything. I follow the law.
Okay.
I'm doing exactly what
Okay.
I'm supposed to be doing.
Okay.
You guys have all the information when you run it.
Okay.
When I run my plates,
Right.
I knew what he was doing.
Right.
You know, it's bullshit.
Right.
You know, and I was like, whatever, pull me
Okay.
over. And,
Right.
and you're gonna probably maybe understand on my end
Oh,
that I'm a little pissed off. I mean,
I
actually,
understand. I understand. Your
it's
frustration.
you know, and
nobody likes to be pulled
our
over.
regardless,
Yeah.
well, especially when you have done anything wrong. I mean, completely wrong, where it's a stop and quick ID and I'm out of here. Oh,
Right.
wait a second, you know,
Right.
something's wrong. And our rights, and I'm gonna bring this up
Yeah.
because you guys took an oath to this, that you guys follow the laws just like we do.
Right.
You know, it's the
Right.
same thing.
Absolutely.
And to me, that was totally uncalled for.
But I think what you have to realize, I think what you have to step back and say is this, and the courts have already said this, is that officers do occasionally make mistakes of fact. The case that I was explaining to you that they ruled on was that an officer was driving behind a vehicle, observed a plate on the vehicle, ran the plate on their computer, right? But they ran the wrong plate because they saw it wrong, right?
Okay.
And the court said that they said if the officer made a mistake of law, meaning that they did something that they weren't lawfully capable of doing, that would be no good, right? But if the officer at the time they made the stop reasonably believes that what they're doing, because they basically have a mistake of fact, they think that what they're doing is reasonable, then that's different. It falls under a different category. I suspect that's what it is, and I can ask him. The only way for me to know is to ask him.
Right, exactly.
Right,
And I want
right.
to find out his name. I mean,
Okay,
you didn't give me his name,
Okay.
which is policy,
It's,
right?
I believe it, just based on my discussion with the officer, I believe it's Justin Lickdean. So,
Okay. All right.
but I can confirm that for you.
You sure? Yeah, when I need to
yeah,
confirm.
absolutely.
You know, our rights are taking a beating. I mean, lately, you know, a proverbial beating. I know, and it's brutal, and to me, that's tyranny. I mean, I know you're not going to go for that, but that's just the way it is. I mean,
I think what you're doing at this point is you're just trying to make this into a viral moment. It's kind of like
no. I do this for my own protection and
All right.
yours.
Okay.
So, and I also I know the law. And I know when you get over it, which I know. You guys took the oath, and I understand that.
Right.
And I'm not turning this into a First Amendment audit.
Right.
But
how many times do you think an officer, I mean, in the course of a career, how many times do you think an officer will stop out with somebody, right? And the person, the initial thought that the officer had ends up not being accurate. How many times do you think that happens?
I don't know.
I could tell you right now, it happened to me the other day, right there at that intersection. I saw someone messing with the back of a stop sign. I thought they were putting graffiti on it. It turned out they were trying to take a sticker off of it. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, me stopping out with that person or calling that person in. Actually, my partner stopped them. That's not illegal, even though at the end of the day, right? I observed something.
Well, it's reasonable suspicion,
it was
right? Oh, which I
reasonable.
understand
Yes,
that.
yes.
So that was reasonable suspicion for me to get pulled over for.
I don't. I have to ask him what his thing is.
That's my issue.
When I'm listening to this, I'm telling you that what I suspect it is a mistake of fact.
Okay.
He saw information that he believed gave him reasonable suspicion.
Right.
And at the end of the day, it was a mistake of fact. That's what I believe happened. It's very similar when you have to admit that case that I explained to you, right? Which you probably could look it up and maybe look up Wisconsin Supreme Court law regarding mistake of fact or something like that. And that case is kind of similar in that the officer is using his computer as a source of information, right? He thinks he has something that is a violation of law. That we will all agree that if at the time he believed that he pulled you over, he believed you had a revoked driver's license, that would be a lawful stop, right? If it was
correct.
Okay, right. So the question then becomes this: Did he have a mistake of facts that led him to make a stop that he reasonably believed was legitimate, or did he basically have a mistake of law? And I think in this case, just everything that I'm listening to right now, even without talking to him, I believe it's going to be a mistake of fact. But I'll talk to him because I have to ask him, why did you pull this guy over? If he tells me I had no reason to pull the guy over, well then we'd have a problem, right?
Well, yeah.
But I don't.
Well, of course.
I don't think that's. But I've been doing this long enough that I realize that, quite honestly, I've had mistakes of fact.
Well,
You know,
right,
because you
but-
can't do this job for 20 years I think he's been doing it for 25 years. You can't do this job for 25 years without every now and then
you're gonna run into something, and I understand that.
Like,
but when it does, there's repercussions. You can't.
Well, yeah.
I mean, I got a DUI last year.
Yep,
okay,
yep.
It was in my driveway,
Right.
and my own private property.
Right.
Somebody called for a noise complaint. I was
Right.
cleaning the interior of my car. Okay,
Right. Okay.
DUI.
Okay.
So it was garbage. So that I'm a little bitter, and I'm a little pissed off about the whole situation. I don't go on.
There's got to be more to the story.
Well, of course there is.
Because
it doesn't matter. I wasn't driving.
Well,
We can go through that.
if you were driving prior to it.
No, there was nothing. It doesn't matter.
I suspect there's more to that story, but okay.
Of course,
okay.
there's whatever. I was convicted. All right, it's already been done.
Yep, it's done.
And it was a bullshit stop. And
was that a municipal offense or was that a?
Well, that was third DUI.
Third. I didn't.
Yeah. 19 years ago, I got my second, and for driving.
State offense. Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
So it was a bitter pill to swallow for me.
Okay.
Regardless, so I'm going through a living hell right now, and I have been since last year.
Okay.
Taking care of all this shit.
Right.
So. This is why I record everything, and like I said, I'm not making this viral moment.
Nope.
I'm not going to download this to YouTube, nor do I give a shit.
Right.
I do this because I don't trust you guys anymore, and I used to follow you, and I support you,
Right.
but I don't support what you guys are doing.
Okay.
Not all at all times. You got to understand that.
Here's what I would argue to you is this, right? Is that I suspect that a lot of the way you're viewing this, and I think you kind of just explained that, is shaded through the lens of a person who doesn't feel like maybe in their particular case that justice was served, right? That's what that so now you're viewing Officer Lichty's issue, and quite honestly, if he made a mistake of fact, that's still a mistake, right?
Yeah.
So you're viewing that through a hyper lens of like I'm already kind of sore at the police, and this is another example.
Well, it comes in as a whole.
No,
you guys, one officer, it affects all of you.
Right, but
kind of like my job.
Yeah.
It affects me if I do something wrong.
Yeah,
I mean, big time.
No, you're right. Everyone's job, they should try to excel and do their best.
If somebody doesn't say anything,
right, well,
and then this keeps on going on and on and on.
Well, I think that the issue will be that I have to ask him the question. I mean, if you want to wait out here, I'll go talk to him on the phone and I'll find out.
What I'll do is I'll leave you my information.
Okay. Sure.
I'll leave you my name.
Yeah, okay.
And then if you can call me back.
Sure, absolutely.
That'd be fantastic.
That's what I will do. Then.
And then I just need an answer. I mean, a direct answer.
Well, why did he pull you over?
Why?
Okay.
I know he's got the camera on his vehicle. So,
yeah.
And I know you guys don't have cameras on you.
Well, we all have the cameras on the vehicles.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think you guys should have them on you. But that's a whole different story too.
Yep.
So that's why I record everything.
Just to let you know, they're requested for this year's budget. So
good.
Okay.
That's a good thing.
Yeah.
I think it's good for you guys and it's good for us.
Right.
And you don't want to hear the word tyranny, which is I see it all the time, and it's getting worse and worse and worse. I'm not making a statement. I'm not going to put this on YouTube.
Right.
But I'm doing this because I'm recording myself. Speaking of. So, anyways, I'm gonna leave it at that, and then if I get his name, your card.
Yep.
And please.
Hopefully, I have a card. Otherwise, I'll have to run in and get one.
That's fine.
Here's a card.
All right, Chad.
Yep, Chad.
And my name is Brian.
Brian. Okay,
Yep.
Brian. What's your last name?
Parr. Parr.
Okay, and phone number?
262.
Okay.
352 7052.
Okay.
So, I mean, in reality, do you not blame you a little bit, or is this like just I'm overdoing it? What do you think? I mean, just personally, if you were me.
Honestly, I think most people would just say, you know what, the cop made a mistake and walk away.
Yeah.
I think personally, I think that your view of, well, first of all, let me just find out what actually happened.
That's fine.
Right, but I think at the end of the day, and just to give you what happened in that other case, so you're aware of it,
correct,
is they actually the courts actually upheld the subsequent contact, IDing the person, and I think maybe even stuff happened, like charges came out of the contact because they said the officer made a mistake of fact. And here's the thing. Granted, that didn't happen here. What happened, as I see it, is this: if Officer Lichty made a mistake, right? He makes a mistake. He walks up. He realizes it. He tells you. He does minimal intrusion at that point, based on what already happened, right? And he says, okay, this is why I pulled you over. Or are you within your hours, right? You say yes. He looks at your ID. And he sends you on his way, and you like you said, it's 30 seconds, right? And, But once just to give you an example, like let's say what I believe happened actually happened, and he turns his lights on. He realizes after he looks at his computer a little bit more that, oh man, this guy actually is good, and now he just turns his lights off and drives away. Don't you think he would be here too? Like at some point he had to have contact with you, right? I mean, like,
well, it was odd to me. The whole thing was very odd. I can't drive through town without getting pulled over for some bullshit. You know,
right. Well, as we walk away from this, so if it's what I believe it is, then my thing is I'm going to talk to him about, hey, double check the stuff before the traffic stop, obviously, because it was an inconvenience for you. And then the other part of it I'll talk to him about is like, hey, if this were to ever happen again or something similar, a mistake of fact like this. Make sure that you're explaining to the person what happened, so that the person walks away with a better understanding of how this thing played out. So that maybe just maybe, if he had done that, maybe you would have felt better about it on scene. You would have. The guy's a nice guy. I mean,
he was actually very nice.
You know, like so.
I mean, he was,
right,
but you know,
right.
there's a you know. So anyways,
okay.
I just wanted to take care of this.
Sure.
I wanted you to be aware, or somebody aware
Yep.
that. Really, it shouldn't be happening. I
Okay.
mean, whether it's a computer mistake, I don't care.
Right.
It doesn't matter.
Right.
What matters is I was pulled over for absolutely nothing.
Okay.
That's the issue I have.
Okay.
And I do really. I mean, come on. It's just. Anyways,
I get you.
That's where I'm at. That's where I'm at, and I just want to make you guys aware that I know.
Sure.
And,
I'll talk to
I
him
know
and
what's going on.
Yeah. I'll talk to him and I'll call you back.
Sounds good.
All right.
Thanks.
Take care of yourself.
Yep.
Have a good one.
Yep.